जाएगा। अभी मैं अपना यूट्यूब चैनल पे विजिट कर लेता हूँ, यहाँ पर देखेंगे लाइव स्ट्रीम स्टार्ट हो जाएगा। और दोस्तों ये जो स्ट्रीम के ही मैंने यहाँ पर कॉपी किया, ये स्ट्रीम के ही किसी के साथ शेयर मत कीजिएगा। ये स्ट्रीम की कोई भी अगर बंदा देख लेगा तो वो आपके चैनल में लाइव स्ट्रीम कर सकते हैं, इसलिए इसको सिक्योरिटी आपको रखना है। जी हाँ दोस्तों, इसके बाद आप देख सकते हो लाइव स्ट्रीम अपना यूट्यूब चैनल पे स्टार्ट हो चुका है। अभी मैं अपना दूसरा फोन से मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ कैसा क्या लाइव स्ट्रीम हो रहा है अपना यूट्यूब चैनल पे। और दोस्तों यहाँ पर टोटली मैं अपना GTA 5 गेम को ओपन कर लेता हूँ, मतलब स्क्रीन के ऊपर जो भी गेम हम अभी चलाएंगे टोटल अपने यूट्यूब चैनल पे लाइव स्ट्रीम होगा। और ऐसे अपने टाइटल और थंबनेल के हिसाब से हम लोग को यहाँ पर गेम क्लिक करना भी चाहिए।
When you're always available, people get used to your presence. They begin to expect it. Your time, your energy, your love, your kindness. Those things become a given instead of a gift. And here's the truth most people don't want to face.
डबल साउंड हो रहा है। और दोस्तों यहाँ पर देख सकते हो GTA 5 गेम को मैंने ओपन किया हूँ और यहाँ पर GTA 5 गेम जो कि ऑलरेडी स्टार्ट हो चुका है। अगर मैं आपको लाइव यहाँ पर दिखाने की कोशिश करूंगा तो दोस्तों देखिए यहाँ पर अपना पीसी पे तो जो कि GTA 5 गेम यहाँ पर ओपन है। तो गाइस देख सकते हैं यहाँ पर जैसे मैंने यहाँ पर टाइटल दिया था GTA 5 लाइव स्ट्रीम GTA 5 गेम लाइव गेम के लिए, तो वैसे ही जो कि टाइटल यहाँ पर आ चुका है। अगर मैं मोर ऑप्शन पे क्लिक करूंगा और गेम भी यहाँ पर मेंशन हो चुका है, जो कि आप देख सकते हो जो भी मैंने गेम को मेंशन किया था। जी हाँ दोस्तों, और गाइस यहाँ पर डिस्क्रिप्शन में जस्ट एक लाइन जो टाइटल ही मैंने दे दिया था, सब कुछ जो कि जैसे मैंने किया था वैसे ही जो कि यहाँ पर हो चुका है। और इतना अच्छा खासा जो कि वीडियो
If you don't step back once in a while, if you don't let people feel your absence, they'll never understand your value. Emotional absence creates respect. That sounds harsh, I know, but it's also powerful and it's real. We are so conditioned to stay connected, to always respond, to constantly be there for everyone else. And in doing that, we forget that we are allowed. No, we need to take space. Because when you're always the one checking in, always the one initiating, always the one showing up, you become predictable, not in a good way. In a way that people stop seeing you, they stop feeling you. You become part of the background noise, even when your heart is showing up loudly. The moment you pull back, the moment you stop overextending, something interesting happens. People notice. At first, they may not understand it. They may wonder why you're not texting, why you didn't call, why you didn't show up to help solve the crisis. But then they start to feel it. They feel the void you used to fill. They feel the silence. And in that silence, respect is born. See, when you're always present, people don't have to reflect.
यहाँ पर देख सकते हो जो कि एक थंबनेल मैंने एग्जाम्पल के लिए दिया था, और वैसे ही यहाँ पर टाइटल मैंने दे रहा था GTA 5 गेम। मैंने कम कर दिया क्योंकि डबल साउंड हो रहा है। और अभी दोस्तों यहाँ पर देख सकते हो GTA 5 गेम को मैंने ओपन किया और यहाँ पर GTA 5 गेम जो कि ऑलरेडी स्टार्ट हो चुका है। अगर मैं आपको लाइव यहाँ पर दिखाने की कोशिश करूंगा तो दोस्तों देखिए यहाँ पर अपना पीसी पे तो जो कि GTA 5 गेम यहाँ पर ओपन है। तो गाइस देख सकते हैं यहाँ पर जैसे मैंने यहाँ पर टाइटल दिया था GTA 5 लाइव स्ट्रीम GTA 5 गेम लाइव गेम के लिए, तो वैसे ही जो कि टाइटल यहाँ पर आ चुका है। अगर मैं मोर ऑप्शन पे क्लिक करूंगा और गेम भी यहाँ पर मेंशन हो चुका है, जो कि आप देख सकते हो जो भी मैंने गेम को मेंशन किया था। जी हाँ दोस्तों, और गाइस यहाँ पर डिस्क्रिप्शन में जस्ट एक लाइन जो टाइटल ही मैंने दे दिया था, सब कुछ जो कि जैसे मैंने किया था वैसे ही जो कि यहाँ पर हो चुका है। और इतना अच्छा खासा जो कि वीडियो क्वालिटी आ रहा है, आप देख सकते हो बहुत ही अच्छे खासा यहाँ पर वीडियो जो कि पिक्चर क्वालिटी आ रहा है, मतलब लाइव स्ट्रीम क्वालिटी काफी अच्छा खासा है। दोस्तों अगर आपके इंटरनेट स्पीड आपका आपको अच्छा क्वालिटी आएगा। और देखिए यहाँ पर फ्रैंकलिन जो कि बाहर पे जा रहा है, और लाइव स्ट्रीम भी एक बात है ना कि थोड़ा यहाँ पर आगे पीछे होता है, ये तो आपको पता ही होगा। दोस्तों अभी आपको एकदम अच्छी से जो कि देखने को मिल रहा है। और दोस्तों यहाँ पर देख सकते हो लाइव चैट भी आप यहाँ पर कर सकते हो, जो भी यहाँ पर बंदा चाहेगा यहाँ पर लाइव चैट भी कर सकते हो, और यहाँ पर रिएक्शन भी जो कि कर सकता है। इस तरह से अपने पीसी या लैपटॉप में 2025 में GTA 5 गेम भी आप काफी आसानी से अपने यहाँ पर लाइव स्ट्रीम को स्टार्ट कर सकते हो।
I'm gonna tell you something that might sting a little, but it's the truth. Every time you hit the snooze button, you're practicing a habit of resistance. You're training yourself to delay your own life. And that one tiny decision, those extra 10 or 20 minutes in bed, might feel harmless in the moment, but it sets the tone for everything else you do that day. Because if you can't get yourself out of bed when you say you will, How the hell are you supposed to trust yourself with the bigger things? That was the first realization I had. I wasn't tired. I was undisciplined. I didn't need more sleep. I needed more courage. The first morning I tried this, I was lying in bed, alarm going off, and I immediately felt the urge to hit snooze. That autopilot voice kicked in. Just 5 more minutes, you'll feel better, it's fine. That voice is seductive. It sounds like comfort, but it's really sabotage. It's the same voice that's kept you stuck, made you procrastinate, told you you're not ready. But guess what? That voice is not your friend. It's fear, and fear has one job: to keep you exactly where you are, comfortable, familiar, safe, but also stuck. That's why I use the 5-second rule. 5-4-3-2-1. Go. No thinking, no hesitating, no negotiating with the excuses. Reflect. They don't have to question how much you mattered. They don't have to wonder how things would be without you, because you never gave them a chance to imagine it. But when you step back, even just a little, you give people room to evaluate. And that evaluation is key, because people do reflect, and they do remember. They remember your support, your consistency, your loyalty, your energy. And often that's the first time they truly understand what you bring to the table. Now, this doesn't mean you play games. This isn't about manipulating people or withholding love to get attention. It's about creating boundaries. It's about stepping into your power. It's understanding that your presence is a privilege, that your emotional investment in someone's life is not something they are entitled to. It's something you choose to give. And if it's not appreciated, you have to be brave enough to remove it. When you let people miss you, you teach them. You teach them that you're not going to overextend. You teach them that you're not available for one-sided relationships. You teach them to respect your time, your energy, and your emotional labor. And maybe most importantly, you teach yourself that you are enough, even in silence, even when you're not performing, giving, helping, or fixing. Because here's the secret. The people who truly value you, they will feel your absence deeply. They'll reach out. They'll step up. They'll miss your laugh, your voice, your advice, your presence. And the ones who don't, they'll fade away. And that's a gift too, because you no longer have to wonder where you stand. You no longer have to chase people who only notice you when you're loud, available, and convenient. Letting people miss you gives you clarity. It filters out the noise. It reminds you that your power doesn't come from being everywhere for everyone. Your power comes from knowing your worth, even when you're not being acknowledged. So if you're feeling exhausted, overlooked, or underappreciated, step back, say less, do less, pull your energy inward, stop explaining, stop proving, and just watch what happens. Let the silence speak for you. Let your absence communicate what your words never could. Because the truth is, when you learn to let them miss you, you teach the world how to value you. And you teach yourself that you were never meant to be ordinary. You were meant to be unforgettable. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Silence is uncomfortable for most people, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. We live in a world of constant noise. Texts, notifications, opinions, explanations. Everyone is talking. Everyone is reacting. And because of that, people have become desensitized to words. They hear them, but they don't always listen. But silence makes people stop. It makes them think. It makes them wonder. Silence invites introspection. It forces attention. When you go silent, not out of anger, not to punish, but out of self-respect, you reclaim your energy. You stop pouring into conversations where your words are falling on deaf ears. You stop trying to prove your worth to people who weren't really listening in the first place. And what happens in that silence is remarkable. People begin to hear you more clearly than they ever did when you were speaking. You see, when you're constantly explaining yourself, constantly justifying your feelings or your decisions, you're actually disempowering yourself. You're putting your energy into trying to be understood by people who may not be interested in truly understanding you. Silence changes that dynamic. It flips the script. Instead of begging to be heard, you let your absence do the talking. You stop participating in the noise and you create space for truth. Silence also gives you clarity. It creates distance from emotional chaos. When you stop responding out of habit, you begin to respond out of intention. You stop reacting to every little thing, and instead you start observing. You see people more clearly. You see patterns. You see who notices your silence and who doesn't. You see who reaches out when you're no longer always there. That clarity is essential because it helps you make better choices. It helps you protect your energy, and it helps you realize that not every situation deserves your voice. Not every argument deserves your defense. Not every relationship deserves your constant effort. Some things are best left unanswered. Some people are best left wondering. Not because you're trying to be cold or distant, but because you've grown tired of wasting your breath where it doesn't count. Silence is a boundary. It says, I don't have to engage to have power. It says, I don't need to over-explain to feel valid. And it says, I choose peace over chaos. And let's be honest. When you stop giving people instant access to your thoughts, your reactions, your forgiveness, they're forced to deal with their own behavior. They're forced to ask themselves, why isn't she responding? Why did he step back? That question, that pause, that's where growth happens for them and for you. And it doesn't stop there. Silence also protects your dignity because there are moments when nothing you say will change someone's mind. There are moments when arguing only drains you and gets you nowhere. And there are moments when your silence is the loudest declaration of your self-worth. It says, I'm no longer going to beg for decency. It says, you'll feel my absence before you hear my explanation. This is especially important in relationships, romantic, professional, or personal. When people get used